In addition to the budget, Governor Mary Fallin signed several other pieces of legislation this week. I spoke with eCapitol News Director Shawn Ashley about what happened at the Capitol. Shawn, the governor has been signing and vetoing bills. She also signed an executive order concerning a workers' compensation tax credit. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this is rather interesting. Essentially, what she did was to end this tax credit that lawmakers thought they had ended back in 2011 when they reformed the workers' compensation system and made some changes to the way payments to the Multiple Injury Trust Fund were made. What the legislature did was to remove qualifying for that credit in one section of law, but they forgot to get rid of the portion that tells the tax commission to pay that credit in another title of law. As a result, for the last 4 years, the tax commission has continued to pay those credits, those rebates. And what happened this year when they were looking at the bill to establish the funding for the Workers' Compensation Commission and the Workers' Compensation Court of Existing Claims, they found that this language was still in the law. And when the governor signed the bill, she signed this executive order that explicitly tells the tax commission, do not pay these credits anymore. It amounted to about $40 million a year, according to Senator John Sparks. He said that as a result of doing this, what we will see is an increase in workers' compensation rates, particularly on smaller businesses, as they try to make up that revenue they're going to be losing that used to be refunded to them.
And that's a total of $200 million.
Over the course of 4 or 5 years, yes, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Who's to blame for that?
Well, ultimately the legislature. Like I said, they removed the qualifying standards in one title of law, but they forgot to get rid of the provision of law that says here's the rebate that the tax commission has to pay. Even today, that remains on the books. It takes the governor's executive order directing the tax commission not to pay those rebates or refunds in order to end it.
The governor has signed some education bills as well.
Yes, and this week she extended the Reading Sufficiency Act committees that were created a couple of years ago to help those third grade students who fail to pass the third grade reading test and face not being promoted onto the fourth grade. An interesting component of this bill is that it also extends those reading remediation programs down to the second and first grade level. Now, students will not be prevented from being promoted if they fail to perform well on the various assessments of reading, but what they will receive is remedial help to improve their reading skills as they move into the third grade.
How does this session stack up?
Well, when you look at the numbers, it was actually fairly average. Lawmakers sent 415 bills to the governor. She signed most of those, vetoed just a handful of those, and that's in keeping with what she has done over the last several years.
eCapitol News Director Shawn Ashley, thank you.
You're very welcome.